Right then, more testing done, this time for Crossfire. So these are the results I was getting before I was doing any testing. Frame rate was okay, but it was all over the place, between about 60 and 110. And honestly, I should have been getting better, more stable results than that with the system I've got. So the system tested fine through the 3D Mark software. So what I tried doing was messing around with Crossfire. This was filmed with Crossfire turned on. So this is forced on. Crossfire has to work whether it wants to or not. And as you can see, it's very jerky and the frame rate has dropped. So the frame rate is running between about 34 and 60 something at maximum. And this is supposed to be when the graphics cards are running at their ultimate. So there's definitely something wrong somewhere. So I thought, right, I'll use the AMD H264 encoder. There's an option to use it in OBS, and I thought maybe it's OBS that's slowing down the game. Now, as you can see, the frame rate is incredibly high, but the recording is bloody awful. So while the AMD encoder seems to help the actual gameplay, it doesn't help the recording. So the next test was to turn Crossfire off, basically using just one of the HD 7970s. And as you can see, I'm getting very similar results to what I was getting with the first test. So it would seem that the AMD drivers aren't using Crossfire when I'm playing Battlefield 4, and when I do force it to use Crossfire, it's worse than if I don't. Now the only thing that can be causing this is the AMD drivers. So I've used the latest Catalyst drivers, I've used the latest Crimson drivers, but none of them make a difference. It seems the only way I can get Crossfire to work on my HD 7970s is to roll the drivers back about 6 months. So the cheap option is I take out one of the 7970s and just run a single graphics card and don't rely on Crossfire. The expensive option is buy something new, and this picture should make it obvious what option I went for. This is a Zotac Amp Extreme GeForce GTX 980 Ti, which isn't a name that trips off the tongue, but it is a good spec graphics card. So it's got a core clock of 1253 MHz and it will boost it up to 1355 MHz. It's got 6 GB of GDDR5 memory, it's got 2816 stream processors, and it's PhysX CUDA enabled, and it's got a 5-year warranty. It's basically the best graphics card I could afford, and it's pretty much the top end until you start getting to Titans and Titan X's. So it should do me a while. The HD 7970s have done me proud for a while, but it just doesn't seem like AMD are really supporting the drivers anymore. Well, especially not for Crossfire, because a single card is performing as well as 2 cards. So this will be arriving tomorrow, along with a new 500GB SSD I've bought for doing all my recordings onto. So hopefully should have much better recordings in the next few days, after a lot of trials I imagine. Thanks for watching.